Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a CATS, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow Podcast.
Hello, cats. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Stacy Berg Jackson. Hey, Stacy.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
I'm great. I love your topic, this whole idea that we can have these life transitions that often come up unexpectedly. And boy, that can really wreak havoc on your career or your online coaching business.
Absolutely. And, I think the key word there is unexpectedly. And, we're such planners. I think women in general like to plan. We like to know what's coming ahead for ourselves, our careers, our families. And so when things are unexpected, they have a tendency to throw us a little bit off our game until we create a reset for ourselves.
I think that's such an important point because things just do kind of come in out of left field, right? And then suddenly we may even find that we're flat out. So what's the first thing that you would recommend that any of us cats would do if something unexpected seems to totally take you or your business down?
So one of the things that I talk a lot about with my leaders really is inventorying the deposits that you've made in your bank of success. So we all have a bank of success. We are successful individuals in our personal lives, our professional lives. And oftentimes when things come out to rock us off our core, we forget to take inventory of the balance in our bank of success. Throughout our lives, we make deposits. And if we don't remember, recall, and reset ourselves with places and things that we've successfully accomplished in the past, then we make false assumptions like we can't do it again. We can't reinvent ourselves. We can't, but the fact is we've iterated throughout our lives every single time we've been faced with change, whether it's going off to college or starting a new job or moving across the country or out of the country or whatever it is. We've done successful things in the past, and we have to root ourselves back in understanding where we've been in order to kind of help us move forward to where we want to go.
I love that idea of like the bank of success, because I do think it is so easy, especially when you're in chaos, to just think about the now and just feel like, oh, this feels terrible. I think a lot of it's also our emotions, because emotions sometimes color what the reality is.
100%.
How would you manage that part, right?
Well, there's a lot of cognition that comes into play with that, because really our brains are there to protect us and to keep us safe. And when things feel uncomfortable or when we find ourselves in a discomfort zone, we feel like, oh my gosh, we can't do it. And so our brain kind of works against us in that way. And so we have to say, you know what? I'm stronger than this. I'm tougher than this. And I need to have a reframe myself around this. I know you're here to protect me, but I'm here to grow. And I'm here to figure this out. So I need you, little brain, to step aside for a minute while I step into where I need to be. And that's what we really have to do. It's hard, but we have to do that work when we're faced like that, with issues like that.
And I also think a lot of times, if you have something big in your personal life, you may not always have the same kind of time for your business. And then you have to come up with new ways to do things differently, or even more so. I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about this. Take some things off your plate, right?
That's it too. We are like the add-on culture. Like, what can I add? What can I do? And it's really not about that either, because we only have so much capacity. And I think sometimes what we don't give ourselves enough credit for as we move through our life is reevaluating what needs to be done. There's a lot of things that we're doing now that we needed to do back then, tasks, chores, whatever it is, but now we're at a different stage. And so we have to look at the stage that we're in and go, you know what? I'm not the person to do that anymore. I was then, but I'm not now.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. I was listening to a guy recently. He had a new book come out and he was talking about how you need to buy back your time. And what that means is if maybe you don't need to be going to the grocery store and just have your groceries delivered, or maybe you don't clean up your own house. It just really depends on where you're at in your life, but just understanding like how much capacity you have and we have finite time, and what can you move off of your plate and move over to somebody else so that you can stay present for the things that really require you.
That's 100% true. It's really about task management. And then it's also about distraction management. So once you have
no one has any of that,
my phone is going off as we speak. It's underneath my desk, it's distraction management. So once you have some of those realizations, like, am I doing the big ticket value work I'm supposed to be doing? Or am I grocery shopping when I can do a TaskRabbit, or I can do an Instacart, or whatever it is, right? And so once you do a little bit of task management, then it's really about distraction management. And then it's, okay, how do I focus on those big ticket, high value items that I need to be doing? What do I need to take away in terms of distraction? What dings and buzzes and fly-in emails do I need to silence so I can do my head down work that's going to take me to the next?
So what's a challenge that came up for you personally in your business, and how did you resolve it?
So quite honestly, a lot of my business is focused around training and development, as well as executive coaching. Executive coaching has shifted phenomenally into the virtual world, seamless. But training, facilitation, workshops, gathering in person took a big hit and a big hiccup. And so one of the hurdles that I've had to jump over or try to overcome is how to create virtual learning spaces during this last period that were interactive as well as engaging. So, and that's that's been a challenge, and learning new technologies has been a challenge for me.
There's so many technologies, right? Like
there's so many technologies, there's so many apps, there's so many ways to make things interactive. But at the same respect, there's so many ways for those things to go awry when you're standing in front of a virtual world of 50 people and you're trying to use the whiteboard and you're trying, and so
I feel the pain.
Your composure starts to take a hit. And that's when you have to say too, bank of success, I've been doing this for years. So I got to figure this out too.
Right. This tech is not cooperating with me right now.
Right. Not today. Not today. I'm not going to let you get me today.
So Stacy, what's your philosophy?
Well, on life or on work?
You choose.
Okay. So I think, my philosophy right now where I am in my own personal life is creating boundaries for myself and creating boundaries around the work that I want to do. So I've actually turned down some work because it wasn't the work that I wanted to do. And that's a very scary proposition for an entrepreneur or, someone who is running their own business to turn down work. It's like, you turn down work, but it's not the work that I want to do. So for me, it's about really creating those boundaries and then holding myself accountable to living up to those boundaries, even when those decisions are hard. That's kind of my philosophy right now, is how can I hold myself accountable for creation of my own boundaries?
I think that's such a good point, because I've actually turned down some work recently too, because it was like, I don't know, this doesn't fit. Sometimes you have phone calls with people and then it just unravels a little bit in the follow-up sequence. And you're like, this is a sign of how this is going to go down. And I'm just not going to sign up for it. Like, I don't want that chaos in my life, because there are clues.
There are clues,
That's where it's going.
That's exactly right. And just like that phrase, success leaves clues, so does your intuition. So if you were a coaching client of mine, I would say, where in the past have you ignored that feeling before?
Oh, This is a whole other podcast, girl.
Right. And so
Right.
if in fact you have ignored that feeling, what was the result of that decision? Probably not the best one, which is why you're thinking twice.
Pain. There was pain. Because I think
Yes.
that, especially in this whole coaching arena that we're in, if you don't have certain boundaries and then you get people in that don't honor those boundaries, boy, they can blow up your nights, your weekends, like all kinds of stuff, or just they're not a good fit in terms of receiving the insights that you're hired to give. I mean, I love it when people who are uncoachable hire coaches.
100%. And I fired a client before, and I really do it as a service to them and to me.
This is for
because
you.
That's exactly right. Like I feel no grace in accepting money from people who are not going to see insight or impact. That's just
Right.
not for me.
Absolutely. Well, Stacy, this was super fun. I feel like we could have talked for a long time, but thank you for being a guest on the Big Meow.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it, Kristen. I hope you have a great day.
Before you go, though, I forgot to ask you, how can we find you and your business?
Yes. So my business is SBJ Consulting, as in Stacy Berg Jackson. And you can find me at sbjconsultinginc.com.
I love it. Okay. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by Cats Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at Cats Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join Cats Network. Cats Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, Cats is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's CATS networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.